the cost or for transporting yourself from one part of Accra, indeed, or one part of Ghana to another, the hikes in fuel prices. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union secured a 19% increase in transport fares after a meeting with the president. As soon as they walked out of the Jubilee House, they were hit with new fuel prices. It's too late for them to ask for an increase, but there are other drivers who are not interested in whatever the GPRTU decides on. They have decided to adopt the pay-as-you-go method so that if they see an increase in fuel price, they also increase their fares to correspond with same. The passengers are agitated, lots of confusion, fighting happening in lots of commercial buses and bus terminals across the country. Tonight, the question is, how could this have been averted and what can government do? Under John Ejekumekofo's presidency, we introduced the Metro Mass Transit System. Recall those yellow buses that were given free rides to school children? Well, that has failed. We had the long-distance Metro Mass buses. Those ones too are struggling. Before Kufuor, we had the State Transport Company, STC. Well, Nana Akufo-Addo is doing some work with that. But what about urban transport in the heart of Accra? Between Mills, Mahama, Akufo-Addo, we saw the introduction of Ayalolo under the GAPTI project, which is a bus rapid transit system. These buses have largely, if not all, grounded. So we've called up Magnus Kwashi. Magnus Kwashi is someone who understands our transport system. He's a transport consultant. He speaks to us on issues relating to traffic, congestion in the capital, and more. So we've called him up to ask him, what can government really do, and what should government do to prevent what we are seeing in the bus terminals? Mr. Kwashi, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much.
I have tried to paint a picture of what the situation has been over the period and the calamitous nature of what we see currently in our bus terminals, the chaos, I mean, in our bus terminals, and the confusion between bus conductors and passengers over how much who should pay. The hikes now are scary and even difficult for many passengers. From where you sit, what do you think can be done and should be done?
Well, thank you very much. I would say that the value is the same. If we had bitten the bullet and implemented the efficient public transport system we have designed, and we have been working on this for nearly 20 years. It's so sad. If any group of people or government is able to implement the efficient public transport system, I tell you, it will avert some of these things that happen. You know, the nature of what we have been talking about actually is supposed to be what we call a win-win situation, where you integrate, you transform, and upgrade your individual operators, as it is for us now, the public transport, the GRTC, all the groups we have. And we've come a long way with these groups for many years. We have done study tours with them to help them appreciate and understand efficient public transport system and what is in it for them. You know, they hopped on it, they worked with the cities, we registered and grouped them to see how we can help transform them into business operating concerns who can do business with banks. If we had done that, okay, they would have owned the rolling stock. Government would have, there would be a government arm which we started with, like GAPTI, that would have planned, organized, and managed the system. Okay, the rolling stock, which is the buses and so on, would have been owned by the private people. They've done it over and over and over again. And believe you me, today no government will create a government organization that will be able to manage and maintain a system. And so we can't wish away the private operators. What we need to do, or need to have done, or need to do, and would have to do going forward, is to organize all of these people who are already in the system, develop a model that fits our system, you know, which we have been planning to do, so that they manage the system. As it was, you talked about Ayalolo, so we brought in buses. GAPTE, we set up GAPTE to as a government arm, quasi-government arm, to plan, manage, and organize the system. Then all of a sudden we bought buses and then gave the buses to them and turned them into an operator. They were not supposed to. So we seem to have fine plans. When it's about implementation, we get so disorganized, and that's what is happening. In fact, if we had done that, or the day we are able to do that, we'll be able to solve these challenges that we confront us. I mean, as it is, it's an international or global situation or crisis, and it does happen. And if you trace the history in the world, I mean, in the 70s when there was crisis in Europe, I mean, let's take a city like Paris. They were in the crisis, and everybody got onto their bikes. Right. They also made provision for some bike things and all that. You see, so people found ways to move about, and I think that we should be more ingenious with looking at it. We need to bite the bullet and implement a win-win system. You see, it's so sad. We are spending commuters spend almost 50 or 60% of their salary on transport, and like today, it's like pay as you go. You wake up in the morning. So you join a public transport. It takes you to a point and tells you that okay, we set off for Accra, but we get to Tadakwashi, and then they tell everybody to get down, and then they give you change. This is how much they can come. When you get down, they start hailing. Okay, Accra. So by the time you get to your destination, you are paying almost 3 or 4 times what you should have paid. We have a situation where everybody thinks we must do what they like. But you can imagine if we had implemented or do implement an efficient public transport system where all the operators know that they are guaranteed income, we would have fit in a system where we may not necessarily subsidize, but we would have found a way of making sure that we deal with this fuel increases and sometimes all these shocks of inflation and things like that. And it is not rocket science. It is not new. Other cities have done it in the past, and we have taken all of these people, the EPR, TU, Pro Tour, we travel from all the way down from 2003. I mean, we have taken people to understand the system. But when it gets to implementation, there's too much interruption by sometimes the political class. And it's so sad. You find that in every manifesto of any political group, everybody talks about efficient public transport system. But when people win power, they don't want to pay attention to it. That's so sad. It's so sad we find ourselves in this situation, and you find commuters, especially in these times when there's so much inflation and so much all these things. You would have expected that if we had a system, it would have helped to cushion all these things, for operators and for commuters at the same.
So you talk about biting the bullet, and you talk about measures that should have been taken by the government. These measures have not been taken. In the immediate terms, what can be done? Because I'm not sure we can create bike lanes within 1 week for people to start using their bicycles. That would be difficult. We definitely cannot force structural drivers to start buying Ayalolo buses or the other big buses so that they feel they are part of the game. What can be done immediately by the government, and what should be done, you think, in your estimation?
Well, it's that's a difficult one. If we don't have a buffer. If we had a buffer, then you would say that okay, government absorbs some. I mean, you would have said that okay, maybe there's a particular depot somewhere, and we go for public transport purposes. This is what you will do: fix the rates this way, and then people get full at this time. But even within the circumstance, are we bold enough to say that okay, can we take off some taxes? I mean, and that's it. Can we take off some taxes off the fuel, so that public transport can buy at this rate and things like that? Those are some of the things you do in the interim measure. If you ask me, because we are in a crisis period.
Would it be too much to ask the government to bring the packed Ayalolo buses back on the road, fuel them, and let people pay for maybe less than what the trotros are charging?
Well, that would mean that they are buying fuel. They are being supplied fuel at less price. And who is supplying them that fuel?
Yeah, so
So
government subsidy of a sort.
well, but I mean that could be fine. But at the same time, you ask yourself, how many barrels? 240 barrels? Can you cope the whole city? No. So you can't wish away the private operators as well, because you have only 240 buses. 240 buses won't cover. I mean, won't cover the entire city. I'll give you some statistics. We needed roughly about from Kaswa to this place. We needed about 366 buses. Okay, on those corridors. So take our 8 corridors and put roughly, let's say 200 buses on these 8 corridors. Altogether, from the previous study, we needed like 2,500 buses. Okay, to cover the main corridor. Do you understand me? So it will help on certain corridors, fine enough. But if you put little buses, let's say on Sawam Road, what happens to this other route? What happens to that other route? So we don't even have enough buses to say the least. But of course, why not? If the buses are there and they can be guaranteed fuel for this people, because the last time I checked, little was owing fuel. We were owing fuel from a supplier. So that's why all those are packed. It's because they were being supplied fuel even at a discounted rate. They could not pay. They could not get the ridership. And that's why they are packed. You know, they send some to other regions like Sakra, of course, Western region. If you go to Kumasi, you find some of the buses. So they distributed them.
We have a 6-year-old Ministry of Railways which has promised us sky trains, but it appears it cannot even fix the land trains, which is the regular line we have from Accra to Nsawam and Tema. What do you know about that situation, and what can be? What do you think that would be? I mean, do you think that would be a solution, and how soon can we get that? If you've been reading the ground.
Well, I will say I'm very deep in that space, but I mean, seriously, somebody or some group of people must take the transport or commuting or the quality of life of Ghanaians much the same way like they take policy. You see, have you ever heard that we have borrowed to do elections?
No, we get donor support, but I'm not sure we go to borrow. Yes.
Every time we have elections, we have what it takes to conduct it and finish it nicely. I tell you, we need that same energy by the leadership when it comes to public transport, when it comes to other sectors of our economy. What I'm talking about is that quality of life must be prioritized, and so we need that same energy. But we will put all the energy in to do very beautiful elections. But when after elections, you don't see that same energy into the different sectors. I must be frank. I mean, you're talking about the railway. It's a good thing if we got it going. We've been, I mean, and I agree with you. We had it since years ago. The railway. We still have not fixed the one in Accra. We're still working on the intercity rail on Akosumbo. The infrastructure is being done. No train as yet, and we keep going. We need to understand the dynamics, especially in these times where the issue of public-private partnership is coming. So let's say for the railway sector, for example, okay, the railway functions very well and becomes very efficient when you are also moving freight. Now, so today, okay, we still move over 94% of our freight by road. We still moving 93% of passengers by road. Now, we need a policy direction that is able to say that maybe by the next 5 years, 50% of our freight must be by rail. You see, when you make those poignant decisions and policy decisions and aims, it has a way of attracting investment. Okay, because if I want to put money in railway, I want to be sure I get my money back. It is the freight, because once freight is helping you make money on your rail, then you can it helps to move your passenger as well. But the whole issue is that we have to be committed to these things. We have to be. There's too much lip service. We have to be committed. You know, somebody comes to town and says, okay, we'll do real sky train, then it goes away. And so I will probably admonish you, stations and things like that, who are currently involved in checking these things. If somebody makes this statement to who, I think that every month we should have a forum somewhere where somebody is reporting to us that this is happening. So somebody said this like 7 years ago. We still don't have SkyTrain. We still don't have this. We still don't have this. See, and people stay in traffic 4 hours. You know, one direction, 5 hours. Not only that, now that we have these challenges, you know, you are in the throttle, and somebody tells you that, okay, your money is not enough. Get down. It's sad, my brother.
It's sad and frustrating.
Yeah, it is. Yes. And I think that the leadership must take the issue of public transport as serious as we will take an election. You see, of course, in the same way in other sectors, okay, what it means is that people who are leading these places must crack the whip, you know, and make sure that the things they think they promise citizens must happen. You know, sometimes it's not just the money, because we can raise it. It's the lack of technical know-how. We need to put right people in right places and get things done. You know.
Thank you. We'll be hammering on that point and hoping that the right people will do the right thing, or they'll put the right people there to do the right thing. But thank you for speaking to us.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
That's Magnus Kwashi. He's a transport consultant. He was just trying to help us make sense of how we can deal with the transport fare issue, the traffic situation in Accra and other urban centers in the country and the nation generally, how we can deal with our transportation mess. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Number of stories we are following up for you here. Kwabena Dufo, former Central Bank Governor, former Minister of Finance under Mills government, declares his intention to run as flag bearer of the NDC. We'll tell you more on that. Plus, the Minister of Employment has waded into the Director General's appointment, GES Director General, and the decision by teacher unions to go on strike. He's inviting them for a meeting. Will they go? Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Alande, me say Alande.
Adepe na Alande.
Gonna pay Alande.
Hey, finally, gonna pay Alande.
Do more your way on Ghana Pay. Send and receive money at zero transaction fees. Pay bills, buy airtime and data. Transfer money in and out of your bank account and so much more with Ghana Pay. Dial *707# to register for Ghana Pay or download the Ghana Pay app from the Play Store or App Store.
Alande. Ghana pay Alande.
Ghana Pay. Your money, your way.
This service is powered by Gibbs.
Ayami, if I say EGL Bazaar, say it be Bazaar. Nerteley Ghana Limited is running a tech sale all you can grab bazaar. Items are a mixture of brand new, slightly used, scratched, showroom display, repaired and dented. Get up to 80% off. EGL Bazaar runs from Friday to Sunday. That is
On the 4th, 5th and 6th November.
from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Location, Coca-Cola Roundabout, Spintex. Satisfy your tech hunger with products from NASCO, Samsung, Media, Toshiba, and more. Samsung television at 1,199 Ghana City. Grab a NASCO top-load washing machine 6 kg, 1,299 Ghana City. Media toaster, 399 Ghana City. Spare. Grab for yourself smartphones, accessories, candle lights, washing machines, fridges, ovens, gas stoves, vacuum cleaner, dispenser. Quickly jot down the numbers. Call 0242 439 437.
EGL, home of electronics and appliances.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. About 4 teacher unions have declared a strike starting from tomorrow. Their reason is not because of unpaid salaries or allowances or any of those things that they usually would go on a strike on. Their reason now, strange, but they believe it to be firm, and that has to do with a new person appointed by the president to be the Director General of the Ghana Education Service. They said they will start a strike tomorrow if the government does not remove him as DG. 24 hours or so, it's actually less than 24 hours to the D-Day. Would they call that strike? Would they start? Angel Kabono is president of NAGRAT. Angel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
Has there been a change of plan since we last spoke about this, your strike?
Well, I got a letter today from the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations inviting us to a meeting tomorrow. That is the only new development that I can confirm.
Will you go?
Yes, we will attend the meeting.
Would the strike be on before you go for the meeting, or you tell us about the strike after the meeting?
We will organize a press conference tomorrow and inform the general public of our decision. However, we will attend the meeting also.
Okay, the meeting is 10 o'clock in the morning. Yes. That's the invitation.
Yes.
Will your press conference be before or after that meeting?
The press conference is at 9 o'clock tomorrow.
So you do a press conference, tell us whether you are on strike or not, then you go to the minister and meet.
That's right.
I see. Thank you. Let me speak to the minister himself. Thank you for speaking to us.
Okay.
That's Angel Kabono, is president of NAGRAS, National Association of Graduate Teachers. Let me speak to Deputy Minister for Labor and Employment and Labor Relations, the Honorable Bright Reku-Brobe. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Umaru. Thank you.
Your meeting to the teachers is coming 24 hours to the planned strike. Would you not have invited them a little earlier, let's say early in the week or last week, so that you could have dealt with this matter? You decided to choose the day they want to strike to invite them to a meeting. Any ideas to share with us?
Umaru, good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners, and good evening to Angel is on the other side of the line.
No, we've dispatched him off, so he's not on the line, but he just finished speaking to us.
No problem. Well, thank you for having me, but the issue is that, you know, we are the ministry in charge of ensuring that labor relations are strengthened and the labor atmosphere is also very calm, among other things. And so normally the unions belong to mother ministries. And sometimes if they have banter with their mother ministries, it's not all the issues that get to our attention on time. To that extent, we also nose around. We work with national security. We ourselves hear stuff and all that. So our attention was drawn to a media outlet that indicated that there was this issue raging and that the teacher unions in the pre-tertiary sector were planning to demonstrate and go on strike because of a new DG that has been announced. And immediately, my minister, we got wind of that 2 days ago. That was last Tuesday. So yesterday, we started engaging them. Some of them were out of office and of site. And so we wrote a letter this morning inviting them tomorrow, God willing, to, as it were, hear their side of story and ensure that the labor atmosphere is calm and peace is restored. Whatever matter that it is, we believe that we meet them and we can discuss. So just give us that space, and hopefully tomorrow, God willing, we will meet, and I'm sure that from there, parents, students, teachers, everybody optimistically will have peace of mind to go about business.
We'll give you the time and the space to do what you have to do. But were you invited by the Ministry of Education to engage them on this subject? Because it appears that the issue between them and the Education Ministry came to a head. They said that the man who was appointed was not even a teacher and at least could not deal with matters of teachers. And the Minister for Education, Dr. Forgive me, the MP for Boston Tree, his name just escaped me there. He then came out and said that no, this gentleman has been teaching before, he has taught at least before, and that he is very much involved in the activities and that he stays. That means that they have both taken obstinate stances, and that would lead to a difficulty. Is that why you intervened? Did you intervene on your own, or you were invited by the Member of Parliament and Minister?
Well, on the field of play, I mean, if there's a football match and we are on the field, the number 4 passing to 7 does not need to tell him I'm passing a ball to you there. So it's clearly not the minister telling us to intervene. We have a rule, we have a duty. And that's why I said most of the time, the labor issues that come to us normally when they have dealt with their mother ministries for quite some time. And like I always say, these things are not resolved by one ministry alone. And as we are on the field of play, if you have a role to play at any point, you do not sit down and wait and say that one party must score you before you can. No, you must not wait and get things dead before you come in.
Okay, now we know the position.
We are coming in. My minister is stepping in because all the labor unions are part of us. We work with them directly. And if there are issues that they are raising concerning a few things in their ministry that they think is problematic, and the end result will be that people will be affected by way if there should be a strike or something. We have to intervene. That's why we are there.
Now, we know the position of the teachers already going into this meeting. Do you have a position too? Are you going to impress upon them to let the guy remain, or you're going to listen and possibly propose that the guy goes?
No, we are going to engage. That's our language. We don't go and instruct. We don't go and direct. We go to engage and amicably. And in labor relations, engagement is one of our biggest tools that we have used. And to the extent that we show respect, to the extent that there is humility at meetings and all that, I mean, we are able to talk and resolve matters, whichever way. There's no matter that are resolved by axes and cutlasses. No. All matters are resolved at round table. And trust me, I am sure that knowing my minister, by the end of the meeting tomorrow, we would have some kind of understanding. And whatever it is, I pray that we will be able to resolve this matter, and for parents to feel good, for the pupils to feel good, that teachers will be teaching them, and so on and so on. And, life would go on as expected.
Very well. We pray so. Finally, before you go, Honorable Minister, Ghanaians are suffering. The workers are struggling. You have approved a COLA for workers, but you do know that a number of things have happened since the last time you approved the COLA. As a ministry in charge of employment and labor relations, what are you doing for us?
Umaru, in law, we call something ultra virus. We are speaking, you called me on a subject matter, which I am sure by grace I have answered you so well.
So I have gone ultra virus.
You see, the matter that you are trying to raise is a major concern for everybody. And we have not hidden that as a government. Everybody is suffering. We are all in it together. And Ghanaians are very optimistic people. We pray, we get together in times like this. We hope and believe. The Bible says nothing comes to stay. So to that extent, we are hoping that you'll resolve this matter too, and then get over it in the course of time.
We'll pray with you. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Welcome, my brother.
That's Honorable Bright Rekubrobe. He is Deputy Minister for Employment and Labor Relations. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead, we'll tell you about Dr. Kwabena Dufour's ambitions. He wants to be President of Ghana, riding on the ticket of the NDC. We'll ask how difficult or easy that journey would be for him. And we have other stories that we are looking at, including the instruction, or rather the call from Citi FM and Citi TV for the government to ban galamsey. Else, you would have to pay more for the water that you get in your taps. That's if you even get water at all. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Me tycoon.
Hey, na sika be bra ukra na patututui. Aden.
E-levy asem you.
E-levy aye den. Chese wo de wo nya abuche ntie ncheche mu ahodo aye mani na ye mpo ansa na wudu sika nyina di akone aba. Te se ne ye 1995. E-levy ne de. Aba o. Na nso nim se ya MTN de. Obe sort en out.
MTN be sort me out sesen.
Ho, enti wo nim se nyama ahodo bi wo ho a. Yenje e-levy wo so. Te se wo transfer sika ye de free account ba akoso. E de akọ account for so. Efe, wo cash in and now wo cash out wo MTN agents bia ho. Wo to data and now airtime. Wo tua wo bills. E na mpo ye ma no sika free abroche and now say wo tua wo taxes. We nyina yente e-levy e wo so.
Oh yeah, sure.
Tie, jumedi ahodo pi wo ho a. Wo de MTN momo ye a. E-levy tax no enka no hwe. Bebre so ka ho kra o. Sa kai se e de bia 100 Ghana cedi a edi kan a wo be transfer no. Yente wo hwe.
Na minimo.
Afei de wonim jumedi ahodo bebre wo ho a.
Wo de wo MTN momo ye a. Yentu e-levy tax wo so. Enti koso ne nya ho bambo. Ene ahotoso papa bi a MTN momo ko na tumi ye ma wo. Na tumi fa MTN momo so. Etueche waka nyina ntentam so.
MTN. But why all this laughter?
Quaker gave me 6,000 cedis for shopping for some electrical appliances.
Yes. What about that?
I came home with exactly what he ordered, and I still had 3,000 Ghana cedis on me.
Wow. But it's only NASCO offering this promotion this season.
Of course, yes. It's NASCO. You think you are the only one who knows NASCO brings home happiness? He's been wondering why I don't ask him for money after the shopping.
That's 50% discount power. This season, a NASCO massive discount It's NASCO new promo. What are you waiting for? This season, we are offering massive discounts up to 50%. Yes, on selected items from NASCO.
Call 0242 439 437. NASCO, bring home happiness.
If your landlord say come up for house, so you...
Ifwa, is what I'm hearing true?
What are you hearing?
Where are my nephews?
Gone to school.
Gone to school where?
UK. Uncle Kofi, what's all this about?
Hey, so you have money to send your children abroad and you refuse to help me with my shop, no be so?
Oh, Uncle Kofi, you know that is not true. Whenever I spoke to you about First National Bank, you brushed me off. They opened my eyes to how I could use this building to access more cash. I missed out on Yoho, so I decided not to miss out on Build Up 2022.
Are you a homeowner who requires money for an urgent need? Build Up offers up to 1.5% reduction in your interest rate when you apply for equity release. Call First National Bank today on 0800 770 522 or 0242 435 050 to get started. First National Bank, Bank of the Changeables. First National Bank. How can we help?
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back to Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are broadcasting from Adabraka in Accra, around the globe on citinewsroom.com. We are broadcasting here, bringing you the big stories that you have to hear, both in Ghana and across the globe. My name is Umaru Sanda, Amadu, doing this tonight with Nettey Ajaho. She's got us other stories, including what's happening in Parliament or what will not happen in Parliament. Nettey.
The Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu, says it is unlikely for government to make the 2023 budget statement before November 15, 2022, as stipulated by the Public Financial Act. He says this is due to the ongoing negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, which is expected to go into next week. Osei Kyei-Mensah-Bonsu says the outcome of the discussions would be needed for consideration in the budget. In an interaction with the Parliamentary Press Corps, the minister, who doubles as the majority leader in Parliament, says he is in talks with the Finance Ministry to decipher the exact date for the 2023 budget reading.
Program, the greatest program that is offered, that's presented to the House by any government. We need to spend time to look at it. I'm not too sure as I sit here. I still have to have some discussions with the Minister responsible for finance to determine exactly when we'll be able to submit the document to us. As you do know, the Public Financial Management Act provides that the budget should be presented to the House latest the 15th of this month. The discussions that are going on now involving the IMF, I think is going to take a little bit of a while. My understanding is that it will go into the first few days of next week, around the 10th or so. If that is the case, you then have to strand out the conclusions and factor them into the budget. And after we've succeeded in doing that, because it's a budget for government, it will have to go before cabinet for some discussions, integrations, and maybe additions and subtractions before it comes ultimately to Parliament. So I believe it's going to be quite difficult to submit to the 15th deadline. I don't know. I'm just conjecturing. But if you want to do a tidy work, maybe you require to have some space to be able to do a tidy work. Because as we all do know, these are not normal times, and you want to do a tidy job in order to reposition the country. Nothing should be done which eventually become wishy-washy. We want to have the best to be able to uplift us from where we are as a country. And that being the case, if you want to do a thorough job, I think there'll be too much pressure if it has to be done on the 15th. If it comes after the 15th, let's face it, it will not be in breach of the Constitution. The Constitution provides that the last date of presentation should be the 30th of November. So it will not be in breach, but we ourselves brought it forward to the 15th of November because we want more time to interrogate the principles underpinning the budget. Indeed, Ghana belongs to the IPU, the Inter-Parliamentary Union, and the IPU as a body of parliaments, it is that has taken the position that Parliament should work towards having presentation of budgets for consideration and passage at least 8 weeks before the beginning of the next succeeding financial year. And that is why we said, okay, then let's bring it forward to the 15th of November. That will give us about 6 weeks instead of the 4 weeks that the Constitution stipulates. So that's the consideration. But as I said, I'll have some discussions with the Minister to enable us to know exactly when the budget will be coming to Parliament.
The majority leader also says there will be a probe into allegations of bribery by MPs who called for the dismissal of the finance minister.
With particular reference to the attempted bribery, as I've been informed about that, and as I responded to same matter when I was interviewed by one of your prime stations, I said that it's come before me. We'll investigate if it is true, and if it's true, to establish the motive of that person. That's what I can say of it as of now. Not knowing what the motive is. Sometimes these things come up. You remember the issue of a minister who was nominated to appear before the vetting committee. There was an allegation that he had attempted to bribe some people or influence some people. Eventually it turned out to be, I wouldn't say falsehood, but an untruth. So even though this one has come before me, not having gone into it, I don't want to make any pronouncement on that. Let's see. if indeed it is true, and that is no insult to the intelligence or the integrity of those people who spoke to it. We want to investigate if it is true, what is the motive of the pressing, and then we can make some statement on that. But we're not there yet. We'll see as time goes by.
He added that the call by 18 new Patriotic Party members of Parliament for the dismissal of Ken Ofori-Atta and Charles Edubuahing was a collective decision by the majority caucus.
It is not the group that started that maybe somebody attempted to bribe. I'm saying so because even though the issue started with about 80 plus, the group of 80 plus, the caucus meeting aligned with the position of that group. So it's no longer the cause of the 80 plus group. It's the agenda for the entire caucus.
That was the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Majority Leader in Parliament, Osei Mensah Bonsu. Still in Parliament, a member of the Mines and Energy Committee, K.T. Hammond, is accusing bulk oil distributors and oil marketing companies of contributing to the incessant hikes in fuel prices. The MP says inasmuch as prices of the petroleum product may be high on the international market, the BDCs are taking advantage of the exchange rate to make outrageous pricing of their products. Speaking to journalists, K.T. Hammond urged the government to probe the activities of such firms to help tackle the escalation of the prices.
It's the oil marketing companies, the big ones, the BDCs. Okay. And I have a problem. And so they better sort it out. I'm sure the government, the Minister of Finance, the government, and the Minister of Energy, obviously, they are looking into this. So the argument is that, well, we look for dollars from wherever we get the dollars. So what it is that, so they come to say that, well, even though crude is 94, whatever, we come, it's not straight 94. When it lands, we have the ex-refinery and we also have the ex-pump. You know, so if you look at the price build-up, a lot of things go in there. But what he has said, essentially, the biggest item in it is the price of the property that is landed. Land of the properties of the item, the goods that is landed. So they're saying that, and I put all this insurance rate, everything is in the charges, whatever. Put all of this together. Well, it comes to $20. It comes to whatever. But the issue for them is that we want the dollar, we can't get it, so we go to wherever to get the dollar. And then they come back and tell the government, they tell the state, they tell the MPA, they tell Minister of Energy, they tell all the the people with interest, stakeholders, invariably all of us. Now, well, they got the dollar at whatever rate, whatever it is, so somebody should pay for it. You get a point. This is the difficulty. So 3 days ago, they would have said that the dollar was 13, was 12 or something, so we bought it at this. Today, the dollar is gone to 14, whatever. So quickly, they do the multiples. It doesn't matter that they had actually brought the crude or the product back into the country previously. I am concerned that some companies, the oil marketing companies, are making unnecessary profits. I think we should be careful how they are also playing the market. We are in this together. It's not MPP, government, and whatever it is. And I think all the respective individuals, particularly the companies, they must be very careful how this plays out. Yes, we don't print dollars, so obviously it's not a dollar economy. The system, and by that I mean the economy, the ministry responsible for finance ministry, government, all the allied institutions, they manage it how the country manages to get results, get the resources, the dollar resources to put together. But of course, there's not enough. That's a reason for inflation, and there's a boomerang, the cascading effect on everything.
K.T. Hammond is a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Ghana used to be called the Gold Coast because we have gold. We've been mining gold for centuries, but it appears this particular decade we may see the end of the gold or the end of the inhabitants of the country if this is not managed properly. Now, our water situation may be affected. There's something called water security, which is a focus here at Citi FM and Citi TV when we launched a new campaign urging government to ban galamsey in its entirety. That forum was live on Citi FM and Citi TV. The roundtable was moderated by Vivian Kailoko. We have some stories from there for you, Nettey.
The Ghana Water Company Limited says it will pass on the cost of water production to its consumers as the level of water pollution continues to rise. The company is of the view that the extent of pollution demands extra financial capacity to treat water for supply. Speaking at Citi FM and Citi TV's Galamsey dialogue on the theme Galamsey, a threat to water security, Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Dr. Clifford Brahma, said the regulator, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, should consider the proposal.
We are not living for only today. We are not dying tomorrow. And if you have citizens whose only utility company depend on the raw water that the same people are destroying, then we are doing damage to ourselves. We do not have the capacity like the BDCs, where when there's a change in expenditure, you can easily put it on the consumer. We do not have that. We have a third party that decides how much they think the system can absorb. That is, the citizens can pay, and what we also require, in their opinion, to be able to keep going. And if we run this system this way, it means that we are shortening the life of our own water.
Right.
If you are using the aluminium sulfate, you will have to use, the more aluminium sulfate you put in your water, the more other chemicals that you put in to correct your pH level. So at all times, the costs continue to go very, very high. And I think that if PURC can allow us to pass on the cost to the citizens, yes, politically it might have some implications. But when people begin to see the cost, I'm sure we'll all go onto the rivers and directly get the people who are doing that damage away. If we don't take that seriously, I'm sure even our rivers will die. And I want us to go beyond just the galamsey. Anything that pollutes our water, we should take it more seriously. I have been saying that when you go to Wija, it is not galamsey. It is our own human activities. Mm-hmm. The cost of production has gone equally very high. My colleague from Ghana Water Company is talking of costs, but I will just use products for us to understand. Last year, we were using 200 bags of aluminium sulfate a day. This year, we are using 300 bags of aluminium sulfate. That is something at the galamsey size. Mm-hmm. What it means is that Ghanaians on our own cannot protect our water bodies. And that is what has translated into the illegal mining, those who are mining in the rivers, because they do not see the need to protect that resource. And so I think that the galamsey, yes, because it's clear but there are other activities that are destroying our water, and we must expand the protection to all our water bodies, and that's why we have to call for the strengthening and resourcing of the Water Resource Commission, because they are supposed to protect the water bodies for us. But I don't think they are resourced enough. It's well resourced than Water Resource Commission.
What are your thoughts of you likely to lose your job in the next 6 months if we don't stop this illegal mining thing now, and the fact that you'll not be able to provide me and the millions of Ghanaians across the country with water?
It is not Ghana Water Company that is going to shut down. is the system that is going to shut down. Because our systems are not meant for wastewater. They are meant for fresh water. And if you decide to use your freshwater impellers to pull wastewater, you crash them. If you replace them, you crash them. So at the end of it, you just have to produce it because you cannot produce. So it's not Ghana Water Company that is going to shut. But the raw water that we will use will shut our system. So it's the other way around.
Okay.
And that's why we all have to take the issue seriously that we are taking them now. And so I would want to urge that all of us, nobody is finding fault with anybody. All of us want a solution. And we must do this all together. I am at the receiving end. Ghana Water Company is at the receiving end. When the water is polluted, we will be able to tell whether the water is polluted or not polluted because we will either use more chemicals or less chemicals.
Right.
And so we should be those telling the story properly.
Dr. Clifford Bryama is the Managing Director for the Ghana Water Company Limited, still at the dialogue, describing the menace as a mental issue. Environmental toxicologist Professor Chris Gordon emphasized the need for an in-depth research to help deal with the menace.
Sterility in men and birth defects. This is something that was highlighted recently by some people who have seen things in the mining areas. So the question that I was asked, what is the effect of water pollution on our survival? And I'm saying that water pollution impacts every aspect. So water security, that is the access, the availability and affordability. It impacts environmental health and biodiversity. It has impact on our agriculture, therefore on our nutrition and our food security. And of course, if you don't eat well, your health is at risk. Then you have impact on poverty, livelihoods, and jobs. When the land is destroyed, there's nothing you can do on it. And the final thing is that because they're clearing the forests, it has impact on climate change, adaptation, and mitigation. So my takeaway point, I think galamsey is a mental problem. It's a mental problem. It's a mindset problem that you think you can steal today and still eat your cake tomorrow. I think that, if you could go to the next slide, that we have to appreciate to fix and restore is always more expensive than to spoil. Spoiling takes an instant.
Yeah.
Those of you who are in married or relationships, you slap your spouse. I'm not recommending this. It takes a second to do that action, but I'm telling you, pay for it for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So it is better not to spoil it in the first place. My third point is that a full-time problem like galamsey cannot be solved by part-time responses. My apologies to an artist who had full-time Christian, part-time devil, I've forgotten, but my apologies to the gentleman. But full-time, we cannot do this stop and go. It has to be concerted. And the last point is very important. There's no substitute for data. If we do want to have a lasting solution, we need to have solid evidence-based policies. So in the lab that was shown in the Ghana Water Company video, what they do is every day they have to do an assessment of sediment load, because that is what will determine how much chemical they need to add. But if it wasn't the case, they could average over that, we know that we can add this amount. That's another additional cost. But to know the amount, you have to carry out the research. And we're not carrying out the research because our research departments, our academia are underfunded. We haven't even gone to the issue of what they call novel entities. These are new products as a result of a cocktail of chemicals from galamsey, different soil types, and so forth, which we cannot go to Brazil or UK to find the answer.
Professor Chris Gordon is an environmental toxicologist.
Let's talk about some legal-related matters now. And over 80% of Ghana School of Law candidates passed final exams, as a story on citinewsroom.com. Final results for the examinations conducted in July by the Independent Examination Committee, IEC, of the General Legal Council to select qualified students of the Ghana School of Law to be called to the Ghana Bar this year have been released. The general position of Ghana's law is that the GLC is the primary institution that regulates legal education in Ghana. However, the IEC, an institution created under the authority of Parliament in 2018, has the exclusive mandate of conducting and managing both entrance examinations for admission into the GSL and all internal exams taken by law students. The final results were released after midday on Thursday, November 3, 2022. Citi News reporters saw several successful candidates jubilating and screaming out loud. Others wept uncontrollably upon finding out that their names were not on the list of candidates certified as having passed all their final exams. Citi News' analysis of the results show that some 81% of the over 800 Part 2 professional law course students defined as candidates who started and completed their professional law course on various campuses of the GSL have passed. However, 18% of candidates who sat for the exams failed at least one or more of the papers written in July. The percentage of successful candidates belonging to the post-call law class, defined as persons who have been called to the bar in other common law jurisdictions such as the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Nigeria, and the Gambia, was however lower at over 60%. Around 33% of post-call candidates failed at least one paper, meaning they are eligible to be considered for the Ghana Bar this year. Put together, some 850 candidates of the Ghana School of Law are fit to be considered for the Ghana Bar on November 11, 2022, provided they have equally met other requirements such as good character. So that is just some by way of some news for you, and congratulations to those who have been called. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we come back, there will be business news, and then we'll tell you about Dr. Kwabena Dufo.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens. Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citibusinessnews.com. Let's settle for the details now. The Institute of Energy Security, IES, has reiterated the need for government to ensure the Tema Oil Refinery is revived in the wake of the hikes in fuel prices at pump stations. As a solution to the challenge, President Akufo-Addo announced steps are being taken to secure reliable and regular sources of affordable petroleum products to bring reprieve to consumers of the product. Speaking to Citi Business News, the Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security, Nana Mwesi VII, however, said the move by government is not prudent.
The quantum of fuel that we consume on a monthly basis, we ask ourselves, is the state able and that they have the capacity to supply safe? We are so much fixated on looking for affordable fuel on the international market. It doesn't work like that. The international market or the refinery market globally works like an equation. This is a market that is transparent. This is a market that works like any other trading platform for commodities. If there is any stock for a reliable fuel at this moment, the BDCs and the OTCs would have been the first to jump on it. And so, of course, we are going to trade that very expectation with something valuable the supplier needs. But truth be told, the decision to resort to reliable and affordable fuel outside Ghana defies logic. We have a country that produces oil. This is a country that has a refinery capacity of 45,000 barrels per stream day. And so if we have to take that decision, then we must first look within. Then, of course, if there is any stop loss, we can restore to the global market. The common sense is to make Tema Oil Refinery work at this moment. Why don't we channel some of our own crude oil to our domestic refineries? This is the best way to assure reliability of supply. This is the way to guarantee fuel security for the country.
That was the Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security, Nana Mwesi VII. The National Insurance Commission has disclosed that it is building a regulatory framework to ensure the development of an active annuities market in the country. Annuities are a range of insurance products that provide decent periodic payments for retirees. However, they are relatively new in the country, thus the need for the Commission and stakeholders to provide the needed requirements to protect their clients. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of an annuity campaign in Accra, Deputy Commissioner of Insurance Kofi Ando said this will help individuals sustain a decent lifestyle and mitigate the impact of the rising cost of living that characterize retirement.
You know, when money is in your hand, you have so many temptations. You are tempted to do so many things, especially the men. But the point to remember is that this money is supposed to take care of you for the rest of your life. So how do you go about it? One great way of doing it is buying an annuity with that lump sum. This is how it basically works. You give that lump sum to a life insurance company. The life insurance company will give you monthly sums of money either until you die or up to a certain age. So basically that is how annuities work. You buy it with a lump sum. You see, the usual life insurance, you pay small amounts to a life insurance company, and then at some point you get a lump sum back. This is the other way around. You give a lump sum to a life insurance company, and that company takes care of you. It gives you a regular sum either until you die or for a certain number of years. And that is basically what we call annuities. The question is that, what is the advantage in there? The first one is that it helps you to manage your liquidity risk whilst you are on retirement. As I said, if you get a lump sum in your hand, there are so many things that come to mind. If you buy an annuity, it guarantees liquidity for you. You know that at the end of every month, you will get something to take care of you.
Kofi Ando is the Deputy Commissioner of Insurance, Head of Programs for Sustainable Economic Development at GIZ Ghana, Detlef Axeljan, highlighted the benefits of the introduction of annuities to the insurance market.
With the insurance industry increased interest in developing annuities and the promising insuring market, the insurance industry is now more than ever ripe for raising awareness of liquidity risk facing by people during retirement. Through this white label annuities campaign, we aim to publish the annuities market as an alternative saving vehicle for both retirers and potential retirers. Despite the fact that there are a lot of conflicting information about annuities, we are hopeful that through various media engagements on radio, television and public session activities and online, we will debunk all the myths associated with annuities and educate Ghanaians on the need to adopt annuities as a viable financial tool for retirement planning. This campaign will be focused on formal sector workers through workers, trade unions and media to raise awareness on annuities and the financial risk associated with aging in the Ghanaian population.
Head of Programs for Sustainable Economic Development at GIZ Ghana, Detlef Axeljan, the annuities campaign is a joint initiative of the NIC and GIZ. With the increase in the cost of energy in the country also comes a hike in the threats to utility service providers, as many people will be compelled to switch to cheaper renewable energy options. This energy consultant, Dr. George Edufo, believes could be in the long term threaten the existence of power-producing companies in the country. He argues that to manage the situation and ensure their sustenance, power companies must begin to play key roles in the renewable energy space. He spoke to the media on the sidelines of the IEE and IETGH International Utility Conference and Exposition 2022.
Consumers or customers, they are also looking at the way of also minimizing their consumption. And therefore, a lot of people are migrating to solar. Okay, so what it is, there's impact. If utility companies are providing power and customers are also migrating to solar, what it means, a time is going to come, the revenue base of the utility company is going to go down. So the suggestion is that utility companies should take the commanding lead of the renewable energy space and rather be providing this source of renewable energy to customers. Then we can remain relevant. Once you are providing it, you'll be maintaining the renewable energy that you have provided. But if you leave to the private hands and people begin to install, a time is going to come, it's going to erode your revenue base. I will give you a typical example. There was a conference I attended in the United States, and you see one particular substation, they realized that the load keeps dropping. It was just dropping. consumption. They didn't understand. They thought maybe there's a fault somewhere. But when they investigated, they realized that a number of customers have migrated from the grid to the renewable energy sources. So you see, once the customer is looking away, is looking for means of coming down in terms of its consumption, the utility company need to stay relevant. Otherwise, your revenue base will be eroded by this energy transition, which is promoting the renewable energy source in the system.
Dr. George Edufol is an energy consultant. And that's all for Citi Business News. On Eyewitness News, it was powered by your most comprehensive business website, citibusinessnews.com. Up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Stop lying to us. Stop deceiving us. He was not even close to the pole. That is why I bought this Samsung television. This football season, it is Samsung all the way.
Enjoy massive discount, up to 50% discount on selected items. Enjoy this new football season on a new Samsung television. With as big as 98 inches Samsung television, you are covered. Gas cookers, split ACs, different types of washing machines, and many more.
It don't be today. My grandfather was Samsung. My father too was Samsung. Me myself, I'll be Samsung. My children will be Samsung.
Enjoy up to 50% discount on selected items. Go! Go for it now. Go for Samsung. Samsung, our passion, our game.
We're sorry to interrupt this program for a breaking news story. Information reaching us is that the whole country has been thrown into a state of joy and excitement about the new look of Total Energies lubricants. Our correspondent Kwame Owusu is standing by to bring us the very latest developments. Kwame, what exactly is the situation where you are?
Emmanuel, I must say there's a huge crowd here with drivers and customers extremely excited about the new Total Energies lubricants bottle. I have with me here one of the drivers. Hello, boss.
Yes,
you are live on Quartz 202.1 FM. Tell us the reason for your joy.
My name is War, and for 10 years, I use only Total Energies lubricants for efficiency and performance of my car engine. With a new bottle, it's easier to read, carry, and pour. New bottle design and color, new label, new cap, and security features with a QR code. Massa is the same superior oil quality. Challenge, this is performance at first sight.
So you heard it right. Total Energies lubricants bottle have been entirely redesigned into a modern and premium pack to give you the best experience. Reporting live from the capital, this is Kwame Owusu.
Quartz, keep your engine younger for longer.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru, Sanda, Amadu. Tonight on Point Blank, we'll go to the camp of the National Democratic Congress. It does not have a flag bearer yet. It does not even have national executives. In fact, it does not even have regional executives. But already, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, the man whose name and signature I remember on the old currency, the 2,000, the 5,000 cedis, the 1,000 cedi notes in the early 90s, at the time was central bank governor. He became Minister of Finance under the Mills government. He wants to be flag bearer of the NDC and lead the party into the elections of 2024. He invited journalists to come and listen to his story. Let's hear.
Indeed, all that I have achieved means nothing to me at this moment or hour. When my fellow Ghanaians are suffering, when children throughout the country have no hope of a better future, and when my country, Ghana, is missing the greatness he had displayed under people like Kwame Nkrumah. The greatness of Ghana is unfulfilled. How can I be happy? As I stand here, my fellow countrymen and women, I'm not happy because my country, your country, our country is in desperate crisis. And our president has confirmed that. And as a very famous soldier in UK once remarked, and I'll quote him, this is what he said: if I have the liberty to wander in the streets, it is not my wisdom to do so when my house is on fire. Unquote. Fellow countrymen and women, today Ghana, our house, is on fire. And as a citizen, I have a responsibility to help quench this fire. That's why I'm here this afternoon. Our economy is in shambles. The youth are unemployed and they're very desperate. Ghanaians everywhere are going through very difficult times. They are lacking the most basic necessities of life. Indeed, this is not what our founding fathers envisaged for us. This is not what a country like Ghana, with tremendous blessings and resources, should find herself. My colleagues, we are in difficulty. We are in danger. And I want to inform you that the time for change is now. There's no other. It is now. And therefore, today, I want to announce to you, and I'm announcing my intention to contest for the flag bearership of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Anytime the party opens nominations. I have led a great public and private life, one of success and accomplishments. I offer myself once again to serve the land of my birth with humility and sacrifice when I'm given the chance to do so. Fellow Ghanaians, fellow countrymen, my brothers and sisters, the temporary shifts that we as Ghanaians have grown used to in this country must give way to permanent change. Permanent change in attitude, change in priorities, change in the distribution, which will benefit all. Generation after generation, building on the successes of the past leaders, their good jobs, whilst we are learning from the mistakes that others made. Indeed, we are witnessing a dawn, a real dawn of an era in which country trumps person and progress trumps power. A new era, the era I've been referring to as the Ghanaian dream, giving equal opportunities to all Ghanaians, no matter the circumstances surrounding their birth. Whether you are born by a poor man or woman, a governor or a professor, you should be given equal opportunity to become what you want to become. When I talk of Ghanaian dream, that's what I mean. A country that will give opportunities, equal opportunities to all of us, no matter who our parents are. My fellow countrymen, brothers and sisters, I'm getting to an area that is making me very emotional. Throughout my life, anytime, whenever I have been called upon to serve my country, I have answered with alacrity. In 2009, when you called me to serve as Minister for Finance and Economic Planning, I answered. I'm saying I'm being emotional because I'm going to talk about my boss. During the period 2009-2012, under Professor Mills and this administration, the Lord blessed us, blessed Professor Mills, blessed me, blessed all Ghanaians. And the performance of this country and economy has been unmatched. What am I saying so? When we took over the administration of this country, we showed a lot of successes. Permit me to mention only a few because already my good friend has mentioned a lot of them. I had a good leader I worked with, Professor Fifi at Mills. It's a blessed memory. A humble leader who gave me all the chances. Kamra, do all that you can so that we lift our country, so that we provide good water for Ghanaians, so that we provide jobs for our youth. And that's how Prof and I worked together. When we took over, the exchange rate was interesting. That Citi 20 pesos at that time could buy you $1. When Professor Mills started his presidency, one Citi 20 pesos could buy you $1. 4 years after, of course, he left me 6 months before the year ended. He's rest in peace. When he left me and the year ended, one Citi 80 pesos could buy Ghanaians $1. Meaning, for 4 years, our city, your city, my Ghana city, depreciated by 60 pesos, 4 years. Meaning every year, your city depreciated by 15 pesos. Period between 2009 and 2012. During the period, your economy grew in a way that has never happened before, unmatched. Why am I saying so? The gross domestic product, we say GDP, by economists we say so, grew by 14.5% in 2011 and has been the highest growth rate in the history of our country. After Mills was in charge, I was the finance minister. The same year, Ghana emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in the whole world. Amazing. The same period, Ghana registered, or the Ghanaian economy registered the lowest interest over 4 decades. The same year or the same period, we talk about every year, we were able to register the longest sustained single-digit inflation over 31 months.
You're listening there to Dr. Kwabena Dufour, former finance minister, former BOG boss, who has now declared his intent to be flag bearer of the NDC. What does that mean to the party, and would he be able to replace John Mahama? That's if John Mahama decides to run. Dr. Abdul Jalid Atiku is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. He's joined us on the line for some quick analysis on this decision of the Dr. Kwabena Dufour to run as flag bearer. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. First of all, many people have been hearing about this, but now he has formally announced his intent to be flag bearer. How do you think the NDC fold would receive that?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. Yes, certainly. If you recall, last year there were speculations about him preparing to contest for the flag bearership position, and I think he even granted interview. At the moment, the NDC was reorganizing the party, and that was the ultimate goal at the time. And that subsequently, if there is any other change, the nation will be informed accordingly. So, this time that he has declared his intention to contest, one, maybe he's not sure that the NDC has reorganized itself and or their position to contest, and indeed the party. Now, as to whether how the NDC will receive it, certainly the NDC, maybe those that are supporting him will certainly be happy that he has declared his intention to contest. The others who are also, largely looking at it from the majority, who are most likely to support the candidacy of President John Dramani Mahama, former President John Dramani Mahama, will certainly, some of people will certainly raise issues as whether because the party has not opened nominations. Because last year, he himself said if once the nominations have not been opened, then he was not ready to declare. But as we speak right now, the NDC has not opened nominations and he has declared. So certainly, some members of the NDC will not be happy about that. But the fact is that he has declared that he wants to contest the election. So the issue is as to whether he will get the support of the NDC to win, or maybe to replace or to be the next flag bearer of the NDC is another issue.
Do you sense he would be a tough competition for John Mahama, or this would be a walk in the park for the former president?
Well, looking at the situation, looking at particularly the third degree of President John Mahama, his support within the party, right, and also looking at the previous contest where he won the Sanda, I think that it will be a walkover. It will be a walkover. I have my serious doubt about Dr. for winning or replacing John Mahama. Maybe President John Mahama, because he has not declared, he decided not to contest. It's a different matter. But if President John Mahama is contesting, it will be a walkover, just as it happened in the previous flag bearership contest within the NDC against former President, or then former President Rawlings.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. I mean, the coming days we'll be doing more analysis on this subject, but thank you so much for speaking to us tonight.
Thank you very much.
That's Dr. Abdul Jalid Atiku. He's political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, giving us his perspectives on this decision by Dr. Kwabena Dufour to run as flag bearer of the NDC. Well, that will be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Production by Beverly London and Fred Tete Jabano. The technical support came through from Daniel Squashi. Eyewitness News will be back at 17:30 GMT on Friday. And of course, we are going to be live on Facebook, courtesy the powerful team, social media team, and new media team here at Citi FM and Citi TV. Up next is a Thursday, so you'll be hearing Sister with AJ Sapon. Have a good night.
First, reach our hotline on 0302-224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 9.